common business considerations: ROI, which means return on investment, and TCO, which means total cost of ownership. Now, looking at the prospect of a casino in Gettysburg, I see a problem both from the ROI and the TCO prospects. First, looking at the return on investment of allowing a casino to exist in Gettysburg, it would bring in some jobs. I've heard the number floating, around about 200. Of those, the vast majority would be minimum wage jobs. At best, with a select percentage being good paying jobs that would have to go to people with casino experience. That means not from Gettysburg and not necessarily from Adams County. Now, what about the tax revenue, you ask? Well, I hear all kinds of numbers flying around as to what the state will make from the casino. I hear that 55% of gross revenue is supposed to go to the state of PA in taxes. The Hollywood Casino just posted $21.5 million for January 2010. I looked this up today. Now, that means the state gets $11.8 million in tax revenue for that month. Now, let's assume that if the Mason-Dixon Casino were to happen and it was successful, Gettysburg has a population of approximately 7,500 people according to the last census. While the state of PA has roughly 12.5 million, with Philadelphia accounting for 1.5 million all by itself. Now, it doesn't take someone with super intelligence to figure out that 11.8 million divided by 12.5 million is 94 cents per person. With Gettysburg, that means if the revenues were evenly distributed, which the government likes to say they try to do these days, our community would get a whopping big return of roughly $7,000 in state funds to benefit our community every month, or about $84,000 a year, while the casino owner would make $150 million. Now, Cumberland Township would be getting some revenue as well, but the paltry amount of revenue that we're talking about would benefit, and I say that in big quotes, would benefit our residents. Really? Is this worth the investment that we're talking about? The investment of us as a community deciding to let this happen? From the total cost of ownership end, it looks even worse. If successful, the casino would result in 3 changes to our tourism. 1, it would chase away some tourists who are passionate about the Civil War and would feel the town has been tainted. That regular tourism revenue for the town's business owners would be gone. Likewise, the sales tax revenues from which the states benefit would be gone. Number 2, it would divert a portion of the remaining tourists from the town center shops and from the town center shops and restaurants to the casino, where they would spend not only their gambling money but also their eating money. Once again, we're talking about real revenue taken from the pockets of the town's business owners, their employees, and diverted to the casino owners and the state, with almost none for us. Number 3, it would create a new group of visitors who solely come to the casino, adding traffic and potentially crime issues while contributing nothing except possibly gasoline sales to the town. So the total cost of ownership would be a real and tangible loss on 2 fronts for the town's businesses: 1 to the state, and a new cost to the community in terms of road maintenance needs and law enforcement. Not to mention that it would likely translate to more jobs lost to the negative impact on our businesses. Add to that the personal cost to our families and children and total cost of ownership to our community is plain to see that it's a terrible business prospect for the community. Now, if that's still not enough, there's a terrible truth that it would be one of the most disrespectful establishments we could have built on the doorstep of not only a community and state treasure, but a national treasure, the Gettysburg battlefield. Now, I know many local residents see it as a nuisance. They drive around it to avoid it during the tourist season, choosing to do so. And as a living historian, we could not possibly live in a more important place. The American Civil War forced our country to take a very real look at itself and what was wrong in our country. It forced us to reevaluate practices that were disgraceful and for which we still have to deal with the consequences today. It is ironic that the casino advocates choose to cite arguments that ring true. Our community needs jobs. Our community needs to find new revenue streams, especially during the winter months. We need tax relief, and applies these to justify the operation of a casino. Now, you might ask me, well, why is that ironic? Because it shows we still have not learned the lessons that history taught us so brutally in 1863. The South had all the right arguments too, with the same ring of truth. The federal government is getting too big and too powerful. The voice of the state governments is being drowned out. The industrial society is going to destroy the agricultural. Our economic survival depends on us operating the way we choose to. Yet all those arguments, as true as they were brought up to defend the institution of slavery. Now, I'm not saying casinos are bad as slavery. What I'm making the point of is that we should have learned by now that just because you can recognize issues that affect us does not mean that the end result you're seeking to rectify those arguments is right, moral, or justified. That is one of the lessons we should have learned by now, 150 years later. But this also proves a point. Places like Gettysburg Battlefield have a priceless value for us. They provide a venue for educating the public, young and old alike, in lessons like this one. It allows people like me to take the opportunity to teach kids something they will never learn in school, and adults something they never learned. I am often taken aback at the enthusiasm people show for the subject of the Civil War. They arrive in droves on buses, as Boy Scout units hiking, as veterans and active military members trying to make sense of the legacy we inherited, and the horrible truths about war, the value of service to your country, and the lessons we can apply to our world today so that we might avoid making unnecessary mistakes that were paid for in blood, sweat, and tears by our great-great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers before us. 50,000 casualties were the result of Gettysburg. 50,000. Let me put that in perspective. That was more than all the battles in the American wars before it. 7,500 casualties during the Revolution. 5,000 during the War of 1812. 3,900 during the Mexican War. To quote the commander of the Confederate veterans who spoke on the 50th anniversary observance of that battle, the terrors of this battle defy the brush of the artist and the words of oratory. The price of that battle was so important that it was forever memorialized. It was observed both 50 years and 75 years later, both by surviving Union and Confederate veterans. We have been handed the stewardship of Gettysburg. The residents here must coexist with it while recognizing it is more important than themselves. We cannot taint it by allowing a casino to be built so close. When I'm in uniform and I'm speaking up on Little Round Top to visitors, I seek out the children and I hope to instill a passion in them for history and a desire to learn about it. I pull out a period pocket watch and I show them the works inside. I tell them that this watch was made almost 150 years ago and still works. When you look at it, think about the fact that the person who made it built something that outlived him. You're at an age where anything is possible. You could be a great engineer or scientist. You could cure a disease or become a great artist. You could be the President of the United States and find a better way to serve the people or fix problems we have. You can do great things that affect others well beyond your life. Learn as much as you can about everything. And when you ride in your car and you're benefiting from the things people learned and passed on to future generations. You're benefiting from all the different people who knew how to design the different pieces and to put them together. To do things that outlive you and help others, you have to learn. Now, as a living historian, I implore you all to see the bigger picture here. Don't let a casino be built in Gettysburg. Don't chase away the scout groups and teenagers who come here to learn because their parents don't want them to come to a town that's been tainted by a casino. I now ask you for all of these reasons to help stop this from happening here in Gettysburg. It's just the wrong place.